Hello, everybody, and welcome to Everybody is Terminal, a podcast with me, John David, as your host. In this week's episode, we are going to go on a moose hunt through northern British Columbia. This was from a few years ago, so still just as relevant, still just as awesome as a hunt. If you're listening to this on fthisnetwork.com, I'd greatly suggest checking out my YouTube channel. I'm going to leave a link in the comment section or in the description section of this video, or this recording, so hopefully you can go and check out the YouTube channel. There's going to be a ton of video, a ton of footage, so you can get a better feel of it. So without much further ado, we're going to jump right into it. So we're going to start with some fun fact about moose. So moose are the largest ungulates in North America. An ungulate is a hoofed animal. So other ungulates would be deer, elk, caribou. But moose are definitely the biggest. They stand about 5.5 to 6.5 feet tall at their hump on their back. They're super muscular, huge bodies on them, a ton of meat on them. They have huge racks which separate them from other ungulates because they have more of a palm-shaped brow than tines, or than pointy antlers, if you would. So the moose their fur is actually hollow, which helps insulate them because they live in colder climates. They also helps them be able to swim, so they're great swimmers. They are kind of goofy looking in person. They're just all legs, just huge legs, chicken legs, and then a massive body on them. For our hunting trip, we went up into northern British Columbia, Canada. So we got what's called a limited entry draw, where you apply for a hunting permit from the government, and it's a lottery system. So if you get drawn, then you get a tag. So we put in for a draw for a big bull moose. We put in for a group hunt, so there was several of us that went in on it, so our chances were a bit better than normal. Luckily we drew, so this was the first time in a few years that I actually got to draw a big bull tag. Super excited. The area we went to is super secluded, so to give you some reference to how secluded it is, the closest town is about 4,000 people, and that is about 80 kilometers away. So from this town of 4,000 people, you drive 80 kilometers out into the bush, where you stop, you unload your four-wheelers or your 4x4 out of the truck, and you continue another 10, 15 kilometers into the bush. You'll get to a lake, and then on this lake is a boat that's kind of stashed away in some underbrush. You pull out that boat, you boat across the lake, and there's a cabin there. So this is where we were basing our hunting trip out of. Just super secluded spot. There's not much for resident hunters because it's pretty far out of the way, and most people will just hunt on the bush roads. So for this trip, I got to go with 3 other people, which is a pretty good size hunting party. We got to go out there. We took us a whole day to get out there, obviously, just transporting all that stuff and the logistics of getting out there. First day, got to sight in the guns and just pretty much prep, get your last minute stuff ready. So for the first day I'm going to throw a video clip up right now. So the first day of hunting, you really want to get a layout of the land. So what you're looking for is moose sign, seeing if moose have been in the area. So things you'll typically look for are obviously tracks, scat, or beds, because they will bed down and You'll usually see that in the grass. They tend to, their best chance of catching a moose is on a lake or in swampy areas or meadows. They eat a lot of willows, so if you can find a willow stand or a lot of aquatic plant life, as in ponds and places like that, they travel huge distances in a day and they travel so fast. So your best chance is you will hunker down in a spot, which is called the stand, and you'll just sit on stand and just sit there for a good 4 hours. Your best chances of catching a moose are first thing in the morning and right at sunset, so dawn and dusk. So you want to be out there when the sun is rising and as the sun is going down. So a lot of times you'll be leaving in the dark and you'll be coming back in the pitch black. It's a great experience. You just get to be out in nature and it's so serene. So for this first day, I got dropped off they dropped me off in the boat and I was going to hike into this meadow. So I got dropped off and I hiked up here. There was some sign, there was some tracks as well as some beds on the way up. And I hiked up to this lake. It was about a kilometer, maybe a kilometer and a half away. And I sat on stand up there. There was not much for action up there. The main thing you're trying to do when you're moose hunting is you call them in. So the time where you're hunting is called the rut, which is when they mate. So it lasts about 2 weeks in the fall. So to be able to catch them in the rut, you try to imitate a cow moose, and then your cow moose will hopefully draw a bull moose in. So you're just trying to sound like a horny cow as hard as you can. So you pretty much throw out a call every 20 minutes or so. Unfortunately, the first day, nothing really came out. Saw some sign, but didn't call anything in. So still trying to get a feel of the land out there and still exploring new areas. So you want to cover a lot of ground to see where you see the most sign, and then you'll focus on that area because that will be obviously the best area to be able to catch a moose in. The first day we had some success for seeing sign, but not a lot. It wasn't super promising, which meant we'd have to start branching out farther and farther. There's a lake that's a pretty far distance away, but it is a producer, and I've always seen moose on this lake. It's pretty much a sure thing. It's quite a ways away from the cabin. So to get to this lake, you have to boat across the lake, and then it's about a 4-kilometer hike to get to the next lake. There's a boat on that lake. You boat across that lake, and then it's about a kilometer hike. No, about half a kilometer hike to another lake. There's a boat on that lake, and then you go to the far end of that lake. There's a peninsula going out into the lake, a really nice draw, and there's just 2 little meadows or 2 little swamps on either side of this peninsula. So it's a great spot. You can see moose coming out on either side, and like I said, it's just a total producer. So for day 2, I decided to go up there. They decided to go to some other places close by. Really what you're doing is, I compare it to gambling in a casino. So if you're playing roulette, you're going to put your chips on a number and you're going to stay on that number, because if you keep putting your chips on a different number, you might never cash in. But if you keep putting it on a specific number, eventually that number is going to play out. And this was definitely my 21. This was the number that pays out. So I was pretty excited about going up here. My dad actually came up to this spot with me to sit on the peninsula and watch one of the meadows as I watched the other one. We got up there and there was a ton of sign up there. I did a lot of calling the first day and actually got a really good, strong response. So as you're cow calling, I'm just going to throw a cow call to kind of imitate what it sounds like. So that's kind of what a cow call sounds like. So I was throwing out some cow calls and I got this super loud grunt, which is the bull responding. I'm not very good at the grunt, so don't judge, but it's kind of a... And I just kept hearing this grunt across the meadow away from me, probably 400 or 500 yards away. And I could not get him to break the tree line. I tried so hard, and he just kept grunting away. After about 20 minutes, I had a cow come out over there as well, and she started cow calling as well. And then the bull came out. He broke the tree line to go towards this cow. It was a massive bull. He probably had a 60-inch spread on him. So that just means the distance between the antlers was about 60 inches. So just a massive bull. That is a trophy bull, if you would. That's a big bull. That's very mature. It would have been a great bull, but that cow drew him away from me. He wasn't interested in me. I was losing light really quickly, and unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. I tried challenging, so you'll rake trees or you'll smash through the trees or just rake the tree, and that will simulate another bull challenging for a cow. And then usually they'll go and they'll fight over this cow so they can bring the cow into their harem. But unfortunately, he didn't take the bait. He wasn't too interested, and he kind of went back into the tree line. He kept grunting a bit, but I just could not get him to break the tree line there or to come out to me, unfortunately. So it got dark, end of shooting light, and was not able to capitalize on it that day, but definitely had found the spot to go to, and a super promising spot. You know there's moose there. Where there's cows, there's bulls, and there was obviously bulls there. Typically moose are solitary, so they don't pack up or anything. They're just super solitary. A cow, when she has a calf, the calf will stay with her for 12 to 16 months, and then the calf will go off on his own. But during the rut, the bulls will get a harem of, or the mature bulls will get a harem of cows together. So they'll be able to attract all these cows for mating. And that's the only time you really see them together. So if you are watching cows and you have cows there, that definitely means you're going to attract a bull. The smell is there. They're going to call a bull in for you. Like I said, unfortunately, it didn't work out that day, but the next day we decided to go out there again. Much the same. It's quite a distance away from the camp. So typically what you'll do is you'll go out for your morning hunt. You'll go back to camp. You'll have your lunch, and then you'll go back out for your evening hunt. It's so far away that we decided to just stay out there throughout the day and have a little lunch out there. So we went out there pretty early in the morning, and it was pretty quiet. It was pretty quiet for most of the day. My Carlo Dago, my father, he was doing most of the calling today, and he was getting that big bull. You could hear him grunting away and grunting away. Again, wouldn't break the tree line, and Carl is just watching watching that tree line there, and he looks over after grunting and calling, and about 50 yards away from him, a bull moose, a smaller bull moose, had come out and was just standing just on the edge of the tree line. Super lucky. He just looked over. He saw this bull. He didn't have a shell in the chamber, so he loaded a shell into the chamber, and he was able to put this bull down. One bullet down and dusted, and that was it. So that was essentially the end of the hunt right there, or the end of the hunting part, and then it becomes time to do work, and then it becomes work. So here we are, third day into our trip. So got a moose down here. Carl shot it. Here with Carl and Robert. And look at the size of this bull. What a great bull. That's awesome.
Oh, isn't that? Look at that drop tine on him. Is that the most bizarre thing, huh?
That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. Nice bull though. Healthy.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
So I was actually looking and calling out another bull on the backside over there, and was unsuccessful. And then out of the corner of my eye, this guy came from the trees in behind me and probably came within 20 yards, but I had nothing in the chamber, so I had to jack a shell into the chamber, and he took off running. He ran 60 yards to here, and I cow called him, and he stopped, turned, and looked at me. And as they say, that was the end of the story for the poor guy.
Poor guy.
One shot, down and dusted.
Down and dusted. What were you using for a rifle?
Hey, I got the best rifle in the world. I got a Husqvarna 270.
Husqvarna 270.
Yeah.
Where would you acquire such a rare piece?
A rare piece of gun like that, I had to trade big time for it. I had to trade a celebration or centennial issue 30-30 lever action for it.
Oh, and who is the recipient? This guy. Oh, this is awesome.
But the moose that first presented itself was John's monster from yesterday, and it was nothing but antlers.
It's probably 50-inch plus.
Oh, plus.
Plus.
But we're happy with a little guy here.
Yeah, look at all the meat on that guy.
A little guy, healthier meat.
Whew. Not old and sinewy. So we're just in this little draw here, this little valley. What do you think, Robert?
I'm excited.
Yeah, you gonna process this guy all on your own?
Yep.
No,
Robert's
it's gonna
doing
take
this one all by
way
himself.
too long.
I don't know. You saw it once.
Yeah.
You've seen it once. Now it's on you, man.
It's all done.
It's
Awesome.
gonna be dark before I get the back cut open.
Oh, it's gonna be dark by the time we're out of here.
We're
So
going to be going home in the dark, that's for sure.
on that note, there's lasagna on the stove waiting for us, and this moose needs to get processed. So we're way out here at the far end of godforsaken Nowhere Lake, and we got this bull down. It's about a 30-inch spread on it, so 30 inches between the antlers. It's a younger bull, but it is prime. The meat on it will be prime. So as soon as you get an animal down, you obviously have to gut it, and you have to cool it down right away, or else your meat will spoil. So we shot this guy later in the day. It was probably 4:30 or 5 o'clock, which means that it's going to get dark in about an hour and a half. And gutting a moose and hanging a moose is a ton of work, especially when we had it in this swamp here. So we got started pretty much right away. And luckily there's two of us who knew what we were doing, and the third man in, this was his first time hunting, so he got to watch what we did, and got the awesome job of watching. And so we broke this moose down, and we hung up a pole in a tree and you hang all the meat, you hang all the quarters from the tree and all the loose meat from the tree. And then we proceeded to hike out and boat out and get to the cabin. The next day, we had to transport all that meat out of there. So unfortunately, the only way to get that meat out of there is to hike it out one piece at a time, which is a ton of work, especially when you're talking about each quarter being 150 to 200 pounds and you're bringing it out on your shoulder one piece at a time. Luckily, there was two of us who were able to pack, so that makes it easier than just doing it solo, just one person. And it was at this point I was truly grateful that we did not take down that larger bull, because that's just so much more weight. So couldn't even bring it all in the boat. The boats were pretty small, so it took 2 trips in each boat, but we got it out of there and broke camp, and we got it into the butcher and got it all dressed. So that was the end of the moose hunt pretty much. It was fantastic. I hope that you make it to the YouTube channel. You can check out pictures of this hunt. You can check out an interview I get to do right after we shoot this bull. You can check out some of these trails and some of the obstacles that you had to overcome to even get into these places. It was a great, successful hunting season. I am a huge supporter in hunting and fishing for that matter. Wild game is the best game. That is the ultimate free range, organic, whatever you want to call it. It is a prime, and moose meat is probably the most prime of any meat that there is, in my opinion. I can't stress enough how much respect there is. Hunting gets a bad rap a lot of the times, but it's really something that is dear to me, and there's so much respect for these animals. I mean, this animal is going to feed you, and it's I don't want to say a spiritual experience, but there's definitely a lot of gratitude that you show towards the animal as it feeds you and your family. And it's a great way to connect with nature, and it really just brings you back to your primitive state, if that makes sense at all. Thanks for joining me. Anyways, you can download the audio for this on fthisnetwork.com. There's some awesome shows on This Network that you should definitely check out. There's music, there's shows on parenting, there's shows on punk rock, just a ton of great things coming to you. If you be so kind, you could go there, you could give your local artist some love, you could give me some love, you could go to my YouTube channel, you could like, you could subscribe. Really, that goes so far, and that would be such an awesome thing for you to do. I am right now in the process of getting ready for some extensive traveling, so I will be coming to you with more on that. I got some interviews lined up with some awesome people, some people who've absolutely inspired me, other cancer survivors, people who I've been diagnosed with and I've shared rooms with, and their families. And I've got a lot of great things coming down right now, so hopefully you stay tuned, and I will catch you next time. Have a good day. Cheers. Stay safe.